Al Jazeera has been invited to join the charity Islamic Relief on one of its regular missions to Sudan. Its boss and our host is Dr. Hany El Banna, recently voted one of the UK's most powerful and influential Muslims. Islamic Relief prides itself for raising cash mostly from grassroots Muslim communities in Britain. Earlier we visited South Sudan, where Dr. Hany's charity is helping thousands in the former war-torn region with the basics of life like medical care, water supplies and schools. We're about to head southeast to the Blue Nile region, where thousands of refugees from Sudan's long-running civil war gave Dr. Hany and his team a rapturous welcome. And then to war-ravaged Darfur, where conditions are still desperate. But first, Islamic Relief team members took a break in Khartoum, where we see images of Sudan not often portrayed. Here, the confluence of the White and the Blue Nile. And as we drift down this mighty African river, the skyline of the capital Khartoum is changing fast. A massive Libyan-financed five-star hotel dominates. And work is well underway to change the sleepy city centre into a bustling, gleaming 24-hour metropolis. It's a world away from the desperate poverty elsewhere in Sudan. For the team, a pleasant respite, with days of travel ahead. And next morning, we're clattering across the skies above Khartoum, heading southeast to the Blue Nile region, where thousands of refugees are recovering from decades of war. Islamic Relief are assisting them to fight diseases, poverty and starvation. Dr. Hany and his team are dropping in for an update. None of us were quite prepared for the rapturous and genuine welcome at Bakori. People who lived kilometers away heard we were coming and joined the party. Here we see the very backbone of what charities like Islamic Relief can do for the world's poorest, like building schools and an education program. It's said jazz music has its roots in this region of Africa, and as the air filled with the sounds as old as time, we witness refugees enjoying basics like fresh water from a water pumping station installed by Islamic Relief. But the feel-good factor was about to change. We're about to leave the peaceful south and east to the horrors of West Darfur on Sudan's western flank. Doctor, what actually keeps you going? Because you must despair sometimes.
I'm doing this as a mission, not as a job. Because when you look at the child inspires you. When you look at the widow and her tears and her agony, it fuels your heart. And it ignites your mind to go straight to try to lift up the poverty and the suffering.
The long-running Darfur insurgency exploded in 2003 when the Khartoum-controlled Central Army, with the help from Arab militia called Janjaweed, attacked Sudanese rebels. Refugees were forced to flee for their lives within Sudan and across the border into Chad. At least 200,000 refugees have been killed in the conflict. Soldiers of the African Union are trying to keep the peace, although the US wants the UN to send thousands of troops in, a move being resisted by the Sudanese government. The government's been accused of genocide, with organizations like Amnesty producing proof, like these images of an all-white Russian-built Antonov plane said to be pictured in Darfur, which Amnesty claims is linked to the bombing raids on civilian targets. The government in Khartoum denies the accusations. Charities like Islamic Relief try to stay out of the politics and keep the refugees fed and safe. In the week of our visit, one refugee had been shot dead by gunmen in this camp. More than 10,000 people have lived here for the last 3 years. Looking around, there are tents, there are people, just as far as the eye can see. To go around the entire circumference of the camp is about, this is incredible, 40 kilometers. Joining me now is the camp chief, Nermin Silajic. Nermin, thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.
For talking to us.
Thank you for your visit.
How secure is it for the refugees here at the moment?
I think the main concern and the main issue is here is security. This is the reason why we established very good relationship with neighboring host community, with Abdurrahman, and very often we discuss, with the top sheikhs the security in the camp.
So who's attacking the camp? Who are these people?
There are some armed people around the camp, really we don't know, we don't have proper investigation, to see who are they.
I gather one of the refugees was murdered only, 3 days ago, is that right?
Yeah, we had, it was 3 days ago, one IDP was killed, it was at 11:30 p.m. and fortunately we have, captured both of them, both perpetrators. And so we hope that investigation will be proper. Okay, let's just take a bit of a walk here, Nermin, because this is in fact, it's sort of a small town, isn't it? This is what you're running here. Yeah, small town with all facilities in the camp. We have, clinic, we have 2 basic schools, we have kindergarten.
We're in the schools area here,
yeah.
And this is a class going on. Let's just walk inside, Nermin. And just tell me, we've got 50 odd pupils here, haven't we?
Yes. The problem here in this school, we have, these are, second grade, but we have, 150 in one classroom because we don't have enough, teachers, here. The number of teachers in this school is 37 plus 1 headmaster. This has got an awful air of permanence. I mean, how much longer are you going to be able to, sustain these camps, and how long will they be here, do you think? They have hope to come back their homes, pre-war homes, But okay, we have been doing together here Islamic Relief with staff and also with also coordinating activities of other UN and NGO activities in the camp in different sectors. Let's leave the class and let teacher get on with her work. Now, Nermin, why are these people so terrified? Why have they come to this camp that you're running here? Really, I joined Islamic Relief, 9 months ago, and I don't have idea what happened before. I established very good relationship with both sides in the camp, around the camp. But the government is saying that they haven't been bombing what they call displaced people. The Janjaweed are not active in this area. Is that so? As I heard, they were driven by force from their pre-war villages. This is what information that I have.
I'd been forbidden to talk to refugees by local government officials in El Janina, but I decided to defy their ban.
Life is very difficult here due to the lack of security.
How frightened, how scared are you about what's going on here?
There are constant threats to the refugee camps. Most of our daily life activities here are with the NGOs, who are scared themselves because of the security situation.
So what would he like? What does he want?
First, it's the missing security that we suffer from. Then our possessions, which have been lost, all of it, all our money has been stolen. We lost our health care and education. We are devastated here without help.
But it was soon time to leave Darfur. And we're finally back in Khartoum. The end of a long journey for myself and members of the Islamic Relief fact-finding mission. Time for us to reflect on what we've seen and heard in the last few days during 6,000 kilometers of travel across Sudan. First, I had an appointment to see the Sudanese government's most senior official in charge of the welfare of refugees, Mr. Hazab ul-Rahman. He denied the accusations of genocide heaped on the Sudanese government and accused some aid agencies of hyping up the suffering in Darfur to suit their own agenda. This has been an accusation made many times that this government is bombing displaced people in Darfur. Are you?
This is not true. As I said to you, all the IDPs, they are in the government area, in a government control area now. And also with collaborating with these signatories. There are 5 parties have signed the DPA. Minni group and other groups are signing. And most of this area are controlling by these people. And they collaborated very well. So there is no any reason for the government to bombing our people.
Why are people saying this?
But this is just like this accusing of when they say that this is genocide, this is tribal, ethnic cleansing, raping, all this exaggeration, which had been done sometime by agencies, sometime by people. They need to raise funds, they need to raising the expectation of people, but this is not true.
So it's all a big lie?
A big lie, yes, definitely.
But whatever the truth, no one can doubt the suffering of the refugees in Sudan. Dr. Hany telling me the aid agencies alone can't solve their plight.
Sudan has a very big shopping list of problems which needs the international community to respond swiftly if we are looking for peaceful Sudan, peaceful Africa, and peaceful people in the whole world. As an example, Sudan could be a big resource full of wealth for us, all the humanity to use, as well as we need them to live in peace. What we need to talk about is the facts, not the fiction. It's not to let the media to drive us, whether it's a lie or truth. Let us see by our own eyes. Let us find the facts and talk about it and build a solution for the sake of the man of Darfur, for the sake of the woman of Darfur, for the sake of the children of Darfur, for the sake of the whole Sudan and the whole Africa.